So the WBA have ordered a heavyweight title eliminator between Martin Bakole and Cassius Chaney. The two sides will have 30 days to negotiate terms for a fight that will determine the mandatory challenger position, though the sanctioning body failed to clarify for which title. The WBA obviously have their regular belt and then their super belt. Now, most of you, I have to assume, are familiar with Martin Bakole. He's 20-1, 15 KOs, that one loss being to Michael Hunter by stoppage several years ago. He's 30 years of age, 6'6" tall. He's from the Democratic Republic of Congo, but based in Scotland. His best wins are over people like Carlos Takam, Tony Yoka, Sergey Kuzmin. That's probably about it. Maybe Marius Wack was a decent win a few years ago. He's going up against an American fighter who I'm sure most of you are less familiar with, called Cassius Chaney. Same height as Martin Bakole, 6'6", 36 years of age, so he's actually slightly older. 23-1 with 16 KOs. That one loss being to George Arias back in 2021. He lost a decision. Now, this isn't the Brazilian journeyman George Arias. This is the one-time prospect George Arias from New York. He's a Dominican fighter based in New York City. Many of you will remember that he got destroyed by Jared Anderson not too far back. That is the guy that gave Cassius Chaney his points defeat. I actually watched that fight. I think it might still be on YouTube. That's disturbing because George Arias isn't a particularly high-level fighter. He's a small heavyweight, and not only is he small, he's a guy that started off his career with kind of a Joe Frazier pressure style, but midway through, he completely switched it up and became this back foot boxer. But he still fights out of kind of a pressure fighting crouch, even when he's on the back foot. So it's a very strange style that George Arias had, but it worked well enough against Cassius Chaney to get him a split decision win over 10 rounds. So Chaney, his offense has to be questioned, given the fact that Arias doesn't seem to be the most robust fighter when it comes to punch resistance. Now, Martin Bakole has fought a much higher standard of opposition. He has been on a good run of form lately. I don't like Martin Bakole's weight at the moment. He was nearly 300 pounds against Carlos Takam last time out in Saudi Arabia. But I think he would be better as he steps up competition in around the 270s, no higher than that. Cassius Chaney, big guy himself. He's usually in the 250s. He's been as high as the 260s, but not as big as Martin Bakole. So these are two very, very large men. Based upon what I've seen of them, obviously I've seen more of Martin Bakole than Chaney, but I've seen Chaney a couple times. I would have to strongly favor Martin Bakole in this fight to defeat Cassius Chaney, probably by stoppage. Unless this guy has got an incredible engine and an incredible chin, then I struggle to see how he's going to defeat Martin Bakole. He can box a little bit. He's got a decent jab and what have you. There is some power there. Let me know what you guys think about this fight if it happens. If we have a look at the rankings over here. So these are the heavyweight rankings with the WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO. With the WBC, where's Martin Bakole at? He's down at number 11 with the WBC. See him there? Cassius Chaney isn't actually ranked by the WBC. With the WBA, Bakole is ranked at number 1. That's obviously who this fight will be sanctioned by. It's a final eliminator for them. Cassius Chaney is down at number 9. And that's a curious thing. Because normally, if you're going to have a final eliminator, you'll be matching number 1 against number 2. If the number 1 is being matched against the number 9, then presumably all, if not most, of the guys in between them have turned the fight down against Martin Bakole. Now, Bakole's trainer and manager, Billy Nelson, has alluded to lots of fighters turning Martin Bakole down. I think he said Deontay Wilder was one of them. But in terms of all these other guys, did he mention Dubois turning him down, Joshua turning him down, Parker turning him down, Lania Perro, the Cuban fighter, Frank Sanchez, Ajit Caballel, Fabio Wardley? I don't know. And by the way, these are updated rankings. So prior to that last Saudi show with AJ Woolen on top of the bill, some of these names might not have been in these positions. Nevertheless, again, I can only assume that several people have turned Martin Bakole down for the WBA to be matching him with Cassius Chaney, unless this is for the regular belt and they've got slightly different rules for the regular belt, because we've got Manuel Char as the WBA regular belt champion. I'm sure Martin Bakole would take a regular belt either way, right? Because it's a secondary trinket that some people do want to get their hands on. It effectively makes you a mandatory challenger for the real belt. Cassius Chaney is a guy with a not very big profile, so his management team and what have you may well take this fight, or may well want him to take this fight, because where else are they going to make money off Cassius Chaney? A guy who's 36 years of age, who's been fighting in obscurity, who's already lost to George Arias. So we might actually see this fight. Anyway, the other sanctioning bodies, the IBF, they've got, well, have they got Martin Bakole in here at all? Yeah, he's at number 13. Cassius Chaney is not ranked by them. And the WBO, do they have Martin Bakole in here? I don't see Bakole's name, nor do they have Cassius Chaney. All right. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Let me know what you guys think.